Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. This is the final video out of 3 where I preview the auction proceedings for each IPL franchise going to this mini auction. In this video, first off, I'll be covering a side that have won the tournament 2 times before in 2012 and 2014 and reached the final in 2021. This team being the Kolkata Knight Riders. Looking at who they've released a lot of players and therefore have got the third healthiest purse going into this mini auction. I agree with all the releases apart from 2. I would have kept Umesh Yadav, as they'll be looking for pedigree Indian seamers in this auction, and keeping Umesh Yadav for 2 crores would have been a steal compared to he may go for slightly more than that in the auction, so I would have kept him there. You've got Vaibhav Arora and Harshit Rana in the squad now. They're good bowlers, but you need those pedigree seamers, and if you release both Shardul Thakur and Umesh Yadav, it's a bit of a gamble. They released Shardul Thakur because of the price, yes, so I don't mind that, but they should have kept Umesh Yadav if they were going to do that. And secondly, they didn't know how to use David Visa. They released him. There is no better backup for Andre Russell, and especially at 1 crore when no one else will go for him. And if Andre Russell can bowl 2 overs in a game, David Visa can bowl at least 3, and you'd think would be consistently doing better than Andre Russell with the ball. So that's why I would have retained him and Umesh Yadav, but I would have released the others. They've correctly released the others. Looking at their 11 going into this mini auction, I've gone with Jason Roy and an Indian keeper that they have to get from this auction to open the batting with Dish Rana at 3 and Shreyas Iyer at 4, Rinku Singh at 5 and Andre Russell at number 6, an Indian all-rounder at number 7, Sunil Narayan at 8, Vaibhav Arora at number 9, Harshit Rana at 10, Varun Chakravarti at number 11. So they need to get preferably 2 Indian keeper batsmen in case one fails, as you don't want to have another case where you have to play an overseas keeper batsman because you don't have the Indian options. They should get a backup for Andre Russell. They had that backup in David Visa. I don't know if you can find a better like for like, especially at that price, but they've released him, so they need a backup for Andre Russell. They need an Indian all-rounder at number 7, and potentially, since they have 4 overseas slots, they could get a backup for Sunil Narayan, and of course a couple of pedigree Indian seamers to be supplemented by Vaibhav Arora and Harshit Rana, and a backup for Varun Chakravarti as well. Now they've got 12 slots, 4 overseas slots, and 32.7 crores. So outside of getting their big money buys, they have a lot of slots to get some lower priced backups, and they've got the platform to do well in this auction, and it'd be key for them to do so they can supplement this side and get backups as well. On the graphic, it says that KS Bird could be one of the Indian keepers that did sign. Truthfully, when batting in the Indian grounds, you need to go aggressively in the power play as things then slow down the middle overs, and then you can go aggressively at the death. Keeping that blueprint in mind, would KS Bird be the suitable opponent to bat in the power play for KKR at their home venue? No, it wouldn't be. So, as one of the other keeper batsmen who you could get would be Bipin Sodhav, an aggressive keeper batsman in place of Bihar who opens the batting for them, and had a fantastic Saeed Mushtaq Ali tournament recently. So they could get him for from 40 to 60 lakh, and if he opens alongside Jason Roy, you'd get attacking openers to open the batting in the power play for them. And then a backup for Andre Russell. I'm going to David Visa because there really is no better backup for that price. And as the 2 overseas fast bowlers, there are a couple of options you could go for if you don't get Jod Katsir, but I've gone with him at 14 crores. Others will be bidding for him as well. If he plays in the side, he could open the bowling alongside a Shivam Mavi, who he will also be a sought after commodity. If they get him as a reputed Indian seamer, one of Shivam Mavi or Umesh Yadav plus Jod Katsir to open the bowling, and then they've got Sunil Narayan, Varun Chakravarti and Suyash Sharma at this venue would be a very good attack. As a backup, I think quite a good backup there in Matt Henry. They've got the funds to get him. Matt Henry could be a backup for a few other teams, and he may not go for that much money, so it'd be a great player to secure. I've gone with Shardul Thakur as the Indian all-rounder number 7. But what they could do is, at home they'll be subbing in Suyash Sharma as an impact sub. They'll be building 12 overs of Varun Chakravarti, Sunil Narayan and Suyash Sharma. You've got Judd Coutier and Shivam Mavi or Ramesh Yadav to fill the 20 overs, Andre Russell to bowl 2 overs. So Shardul Thakur may end up only bowling 2 overs per game. Does he strengthen your batting at 7 with Narayan at 8? No, he doesn't. So what you could do is, if you want to spend a bit more to secure the other players, you could get Ramandeep Singh as that seam bowling all-rounder who's more of a batting all-rounder. But if you secure some kind of a bowling all-rounder as well, which you may not have to, because I feel with the bowling options they've got, that all-rounder would maybe bowl about 2 overs per game. They could bring a Ramandeep Singh in, play him at number 7, and then if your batting is strengthened up to 7, you can then bring in a Suyash Sharma as an impact sub. So you've got the 3 spinners, Shivam Mavi, Judd Coutier, and then you've got Andre Russell and Ramandeep Singh to bowl 2 overs each if required. Nitish Rana can also bowl if really required. So I feel that would be how this side would go. So they don't have to get Shardul Thakur if they want to get some other backups, but if they want to get Shardul Thakur as an Indian all-rounder, then you think he would be a reputed player to fill that role. But he's going to have to go better with the ball and the bat. He can't do what he's been doing off late, where he's been going for runs and hasn't done too much in batting at that numbers 8 kind of slot for India. So he'll have to improve to fill that role if he is picked. But overall, they've got the funds to pick a good side and to pick some star names. If they don't get Judd Coutier, they could go for Mitchell Starc, but they may go for quite a lot of money. So if they don't get both of those two somehow, since other teams will be bidding for them, they get Pat Cummins, who'll go for maybe 7.5 crores realistically, and he could also open the bowling along with Shivam Mavi and will do well on the surface. So they could get one of those 3 and a backup being Matt Henry. If they get these players, this side will look good. And now on the Sunrisers Hyderabad, who have they released? I agree with their releasings apart from a couple. Vivrant Sharma, they only use him properly in the last game of their campaign where they sent him to open the batting and he did well. They may get a similar name in the auction. They need another top order Indian batsman as a backup, so they could look to get someone else for a lower price. And the trade that I don't agree with at all is Mayank Thakur to RCB and Shahbaz Ahmed going the opposite direction. So you've traded someone who could bowl 4 overs and was one of the only performing spinners for you in the previous season, along with Mayank Markandeya. And you've got in a guy who was he used as a bowler or as a batsman in the previous season for RCB, you wouldn't know. He's not a 4 overs bowler. He's not a power hitter at number 8. So I don't get why you'd weaken your bowling stocks by trading Mayank Thakur to RCB. Looking at the 11 going to this mini auction, I've gone with an all-Indian top 3, with Aiden Markham at 4 and Heinrich Klaasen at 5. Potentially an overseas power hitter at number 6, Marco Jansen 7, Washington Sundar at 8, Bhuvneshwar Kumar 19, Natarajan 10 and Mayank Markandeya at number 11. Potentially Umran Malik being an impact sub. And I feel the first backups they need is a backup for an Indian opening batsman. You've got Upendra Yadav and Anmolpreet Singh, who've had success batting at that 3-4 slot in the Syed Mushtaq Ali recently. So you need a technically assured opening batsman as a backup for Mayank Agarwal. Potentially an overseas power hitter at 6 to supplement Glenn Phillips may play ahead of him in this side. And a backup for Marco Jansen, because I don't know why they've retained Fazlak Farooqi. He will not play. If he has to play, you have to change the combination. And if you have to sit Marco Jansen out and bring Fazlak Farooqi in, and you're losing out on that batting at number 7, then it isn't going too well for you. So I don't know why they've retained Fazlak Farooqi. They need a backup for Marco Jansen, someone who's a swing bowler that can also bat. Their backup for Washington Sundar is Shahbaz Ahmed. Is it an ideal backup? No, it isn't. But they've for some reason traded the frontline spinner they did have to RCB. A backup for Natarajan since he's injury prone, and another Indian wrist spinner as well. And they've got 3 overseas slots. They've got 34 crores to spend to fill 6 player slots. And they've got a free overseas slot available in my view, because also they've retained Fazlak Farooqi. He can't be a like-for-like replacement for the players in the side. They've got batsmen, they should get an all-rounder, and I've got one other slot who's a star name who may not play, but you can play either him or the overseas power hitter. Now, as you can see, one statement signing won't be able to start in the 11 if the other one plays, and I'll get to that. But what I've gone with here is as a backup for Mayank Markande, one as Shreyas Gopal or Murugan Ashwin as experienced Indian wrist spinners. Chetan Sakaria as a backup for Tina Chan is a fantastic backup. Abhimanyu Eastwood as an example was a technically sound opening batsman, had a decent side. Mushtaq Ali tournament where he struck at 135 or so. He could be a backup for Mayank Agarwal. No one else will go for him. Dwayne Pretorius as a backup for Marco Jansen. There aren't many other swing bowling all-rounders that could be a backup who can provide that batting as well. Dwayne Pretorius can bat at number 7 or 8 if you wanted to. Not as much of a power hitter as Marco Jansen, but even if he bats at 8, he'll be a very good option with the impact and play rule as well if they use that. And then you've got him to bowl 3 overs up front alongside Bhuvneshwar Kumar. We saw in the CPO how he went, and in a here and there kind of surface where in Hyderabad it can be on the slower side, I feel him and Bhuvneshwar Kumar would also be a good combination if they were to bench Marco Jansen, so he'd be an apt backup for Marco Jansen. And so you've got those slots there. Now on Wanindu Hasaranga and Darren Mitchell, you've got a free slot here because as an overseas power hitter, yes, you could get Darren Mitchell. And apart from that, Fazalak Farooqi is not going to play. You've already got the backup sorted. And I feel they need a wicket-taking spinner. And it's going to be very hard to find amongst the domestic crop, which is why if you back one of the 2 Indian power hitters you've got at number 6, and Washington Sundar's bowling, especially when he hasn't been bowling in the power play, and if you've got Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Marco Jansen bowling the power play, you're not going to be able to bowl in the power play. He hasn't been going so overboard. So because of that, you need a wicket-taking spinner. What you could do is play Wanindu Hasaranga at number 8, which should give you 2 fantastic all-rounders in Jansen and Hasaranga. And Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Jansen to open the bowling. You've got Natarajan, Mayank Markande, and I think also if you've got 5 bowlers there, you could use the impact sub rule, because if the number 6 Indian finisher does well, you don't need batting past number 8 with that kind of. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is a handy number 9. You could use the impact sub to get Imran Malik in, and it'll be a very good attack. And they'll have to bank on the All-Indian top 3 to go well, along with Aidan Markham and Henrik Klassen. So one of Darren Mitchell and Wanindu Hasaranga would sit out. The batting would look more intimidating with Darren Mitchell there, but I feel if you've got a case where he's going to be completely worth the 14 crore and he's going to score a substantial amount of runs, that would mean partly the All-Indian top 3 hasn't had great seasons, or even the other players haven't had great seasons. So that's why they've got the luxury of being able to get both of them, but I feel Hasaranga would add to this bowling attack, the wicket-taking threat of this bowling attack. Based on my calculations, they have got 3.5 crores left, even if they get those players. As I said, the books generally tend to be balanced out, and if they get those players at reach, would be looking good going to this season. And finally, the Delhi Capitals. Who have they released? They've released Riley Russo, freeing up 4.6 crores, correct, as they were playing him out of position. You've already got the other players in the side where he couldn't get into the side at number 3, even though he's a fantastic player. And I think he will get a bid from another franchise as well, like I've said in the previous video. I agree with the other releases, but there are especially 2 that I don't agree with. Chetan Sakaria being released, freeing up 4.2 crores when he's going to go for at least 4 crores in this mini auction. I think he was released before the cloud arose over his actions, so I don't get that at all. I don't know who they think they're going to be able to get. Rovman Powell for 2.8 crores, and you've released him when you didn't give him much of an opportunity the previous season. You have to consider his strengths and his weaknesses. And recently against England, he's been hitting pace well, as we've seen him do. And in the T10, he had a good T10 as well. So releasing him to play that when he's playing that finisher role for other sides, I don't get it at all. And there have been other cases where someone like an Aman Khan was talked about highly by Ricky Ponting as an all-rounder, didn't bowl a ball, played 1 good innings, and wasn't given an opportunity as much in a situation where he'd thrive, and he's been released. So the players haven't been managed well, and so they've got a decent purse going to this auction with 4 overseas slots at their disposal. Looking at their 11 going to the auction, I've gone with David Warner and Prithvi Shaw to open the batting, with Mitchell Marsh batting at 3. and a welcome return for Rishabh Pant at number 4, Akshar Patel at number 5, Indian power hitter and overseas power hitter at 6 and 7, Kuldeep Yadav 8, Khalil Ahmed 9, Mukesh Kumar 10, and Anrik Nokia at number 11. So who they need some Indian batsmen. They need a wicket-keeping backup for Rishabh Pant. They need an Indian power hitter and an overseas power hitter, and potentially a second Indian power hitter as well, which could also help in an impact sub role. And a wrist-spinning backup for Kuldeep Yadav as far as you can affect that. A backup for Khalil Ahmed that has been injury-prone recently. And a backup for Anrik Nokia, as for some reason they retained Lungi and Giri when he's not a like-for-like replacement for Anrik Nokia. He bowls slow balls rather than Anrik Nokia that bowls at express pace. We need a backup for Anrik Nokia. And an opener, a reserve opener for David Warner. So that's what they should do. And straight away there, you may think I'm using a player in a role that he hasn't been used in this format for a while. However, especially on surfaces like these at their home venue, I'm not a fan of Mitchell Marsh batting at 3. I'd much rather him walk out to bat towards the end and try and hit the paces. And because of that, I've gone with a Daryl Mitchell to bat at number 3. And you've got Rishabh Pant at 4. So if you've got Warner, Shaw, Daryl Mitchell, Rishabh Pant, Akshar Patel, Mitchell Marsh, it's a fantastic top 6. And then I've gone with Ramandeep Singh at number 6, or Shashank Singh, depending on the surface, maybe if you want some seam or some spin. Both those two can play that finisher role. And in an impact sub situation, you could bring Shashank Singh at number 8, and that problem that you had in the previous season would be fixed somewhat. And I've gone with Chetan Sakaria being brought back again, even though they probably won't go for him, because who else can you get as a backup for Khalil Ahmed, who's got that reputation. Ishant Sharma is a backup for Mukesh Kumar, and I've gone for Matt Henry being a backup for Anrik Nokia, as they need someone that's that hit the deck bowler, and I think he is an apt backup for him. Travis Head, who will go for about 4 crores as a maximum. I don't know why everyone's saying he's going to go for 16, 17 when no one else needs him. He will not get into the first 11 of any side as of now, considering the templates of the franchises. He will get into this squad as a backup for David Warner. And I've gone for Shreyas Gopal as a reserve for Kuldeep Yadav. And Bipin Saurabh, who's had a very good season for Bihar in the Saeed Mushtaq Ali, and he will be the backup for Rishabh Pant. And I think for Akshar Patel, I think they've got one more slot left where they could look to get a finger spinner that can bat a bit, but considering how vital he is to this side, they wouldn't want him to get injured. There really is no backup for him, no matter who you look to get. So that's that on the previews of the 10 IPL franchises auction proceedings. Let's see how they go. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, share with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?